Broadcasting from Manhattan Beach and the World Wide Web, you're listening to CHSR, HealthyLife.net.
As a service to our listeners, this program is for general information and entertainment purposes only. CHSR HealthyLife.net does not recommend, endorse, or object to the views, products, or topics expressed or discussed by show hosts or their guests. We suggest you always consult with your own personal, medical, financial, or legal advisor.
We think pretty is pretty important in all things in beauty. Welcome to RadioAMB, designed for those who want to live a long and vibrant life. I'm Patty Schmucker, a licensed cosmetologist who's been in the business for over 40 years. RadioAMB stands for American-Made Beauty, and it's where we tell the secrets behind the making of health and beauty products. Our program sponsor today is Tia Spa, introducing their newest product, Collagen Gene, an anti-aging collagen mask. This is a really cool and innovative product using freeze-dried technology to preserve the collagen. Collagen, as you know, is one of those proteins your body uses to support healthy skin. It's an important building block for elasticity. Tia Spa has made collagen cool by freeze-drying the collagen in a suspension that looks like cotton candy. To use it, you release the serum made up of essential vitamins and an advanced delivery system into the freeze-dried collagen that melts away right before your eyes and creates this luxury gel-like mask that you apply with a brush. Go to AmericanMadeBeauty.com for this innovative new skincare brand, Tia Spa. You know, I grew up as the daughter of a military man. We never lived anywhere for more than about 3 years. The career I chose was new to me, and the whole idea of the importance of long-term relationships and the learnings that took place as a result of that, as well as the reward of those human connections, was somewhat foreign to me. The man you'll meet today is someone that I have had the pleasure of interacting with for over 30 years. Our paths have mostly been parallel rather than intertwined, but as you will hear, he has lived the kind of life many of us have experienced, but have not had the ability to navigate, persevere, or triumph like my friend Robert Reed. Robert Reed captured the imagination and the allegiance of the professional salon industry in North America. Robert developed his passion for serving stylists while serving as president and co-owner of one of the beauty industry's leading scissor brands called Hikari USA. Robert's strategy to develop lifelong customers was the primary focus when in 1994 he formed Ergo Research to discover and develop the most complete ergonomic collection of styling tools in the world for professionals and stylists. Robert is the creator of the successful education program, The Art of the Blow Dry, but it's Robert's personal triumphs that make this giant of the beauty industry a source of inspiration for many. Welcome, Robert. I'm delighted to have you with us today.
Patty, it's an honor to share time with you as a longtime friend and with your audience.
Well, so, it's always interesting for my audience to hear the backstory, the human interest story in terms of how exactly did you get into the beauty industry and creating Ergo Research?
Well, that's a long story, but since you told me we only have 4 hours, I'm going to condense it down. Everyone has their story in the beauty industry about how they became inspired to join it. And I became inspired through the route of being hungry. I was a hungry disc jockey and rock concert producer in Long Beach, California. During that time, I was having a great time, but I wasn't able to put much food on my own table.
Mm-hmm.
I had the opportunity to hear a radio commercial one time that offered a unique experience, which was that of getting a rock and roll haircut and all the wine one could drink. So I loved that invitation and got my hair cut at a salon in Torrance, California called Fine Arts.
Mm-hmm.
And Tiny was my hair cutter, and he put such great style on me. I loved it. But I wasn't able to really afford it.
Uh-huh.
Making about $100 a week in a good week as a rock producer then. I had to figure out a way to be able to afford that. And I came up with the idea of trading my voice talent, my production talent, to a salon that I could trade out that talent and receive free haircuts.
Mm-hmm.
That salon was in Los Alamitos, California, called the Mod Crimpers, and these guys were stellar haircutters and the winners of many competitions throughout California, which was very popular at that time. While they were great haircutters, they weren't able to speak too well while they were creating their art, so they invited me to become their presenter. And during a hair show, while addressing an audience, there happened to be a gentleman in the audience who was a legend that I wasn't aware of. His name was Jerry Redding.
Uh-huh.
For those of you who may not know him, Jerry is considered the godfather of protein for hair,
mm-hmm.
and the founder of such legendary companies as Redken, Nexus, and Germac. Germac was a new company then. We're talking about 1974.
Right.
And I was invited to join as a salesperson, and frankly, the opportunity was so great and exciting that I joined and kind of zigged and zagged my way, learning about the industry and visiting salons throughout California, Oregon, Washington, Nevada, that another opportunity presented itself. It seems like the harder you work, the luckier you get.
That's right.
So at that time, there was a company that had begun. I wasn't aware of it, actually, but I learned about it one afternoon when I had asked for a raise.
Mm-hmm.
I asked for a raise of $80 a month from Germac, so I could support the 2 apartments I was renting, and I was let go.
Uh-oh.
I guess I wasn't worth $80.
Uh-huh.
But as I went to visit some of my friends who had recently left the company in an old, dilapidated ice warehouse in Redding, California, there were 3 gentlemen who started a new company called KMS.
Ah.
And in 1976, I accepted their offer of becoming the first distributor of that product in the world based in Southern California.
Mm-hmm.
And it was there I learned about the importance of salon education,
mm-hmm.
The insights about chemistry of hair, and learned that the consumer was really anxious to learn more about how to care for their hair in the latest, most scientifically progressive manner. After working with KMS, distributing the products through Southern California salons, we began to innovate. We developed a relationship with a department store called Bullock's, which is, well, like most stores today, department stores, they were struggling, and but they did invite me into their salons and into their cosmetic counter to do hair analysis for some of the guests there and lead them into the salon. And it was there I really learned how to recognize the condition of the hair and what types of products would be perfect for it.
Well, but that was like really innovative to have be in a department store and to have a hair guy that was evaluating hair and then creating an opportunity for the guests to come into the salon.
It was
mm-hmm.
the first of its type.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm pleased to say it was so well received that we expanded through the Bullock stores. But over a period of time working with KMS, we began to encounter something called diversion, which is a term familiar with any professional listening in to our program today.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, diversion was having products anywhere outside of a salon, including beauty supplies. And, it frustrated me. So in 1978, I sold that company to my partner, and I decided to get involved in consumer goods.
Mm-hmm.
I started to think, what could I do that would be innovative? Where would I find a place, a little niche to steal 1% of some billion-dollar business?
Uh-huh.
And I came upon 2 great ideas. One was to develop a laundry detergent and fabric softener that would be fragrant based upon the season.
Okay.
So we had 4 different products, 4 different fragrances, spring, summer, fall, winter. and I thought that was a great idea.
Uh-huh.
But I couldn't sell it. No one was believing then that people wanted fragrance products as they do today.
Right.
But I also had another idea that I was doing research about because I was, at the time, becoming intrigued about oral care, oral hygiene care.
Uh-huh.
And the biggest issues in the market at that time for that was people who had oral hygiene problems like bleeding gums or just wanted a better way to have a fresher mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So I talked my way into a USC dental department and started to do some research with them there about vitamin enhancement of toothpaste.
Uh-huh.
So vitamin E for cellular regeneration and vitamin K to address bleeding gums.
Mm-hmm.
And I also had this crazy idea that people would want different flavors. So we had some great fresh fruit flavors. And lastly, because I always remembered my mother saying, "You forgot to put the cap on the toothpaste," we discovered a unique dispenser that would allow someone to dispense toothpaste without having to put the cap on.
Uh-huh.
So after working upon this concept for about a year, I decided it was time to finally sell it to somebody or find somebody to produce it with. I went to several companies, but I heard a commercial once again on the radio that said, "If you don't look good, we don't look good."
Ah.
And it was from this incredible visionary person, Fidel Sassoon. So I said, "That's my man." And I reached out to 411, which is how we used to be able to get a phone number.
Right.
And called Fidel Sassoon and learned that he doesn't work in the salon anymore. He was in their corporate headquarters in Century City. So I called up there and I said, "Hello, it's Robert Reed. I'm calling to speak with Fidel." Just out of the blue. And they said, "I'm sorry, Fidel's not in today, but you can speak with his partner, whose name was Don Sullivan."
Okay.
Don himself was an innovator in our industry. He had created many leading products for himself and worked with companies like Redken. And Don answered the phone and said, "Hello, Don, it's Robert Reed. How have you been?" And he said, "I've been great." I said, "Don, I'd like to come in and share with you some new ideas that I have for a product for Vidal." And Don invited me in. I was there the next day, came in with my storyboard and my samples. And after listening to me for about 10 minutes, Don said, "Yesterday, our board of directors decided to create a new division for a new professional product from scratch, and I would like you to help me develop it."
Wow.
And I said, "But I'm here about toothpaste." I said, "Don't worry about it. We'll do that. But here's an opportunity to work together with me." And I was 26 at that time. And Don offered me the position of vice president of the company. And we began in earnest to create brand new everything. We developed the first silk protein because in our consumer interviews, every woman was looking for hair like silk, hair that was shiny, lustrous, had lots of body. So that was our first product development. But Don was such a great mentor, and Vidal was so generous and open-minded that we shortly thereafter introduced this great range of products supported with a brilliant public relations and advertising strategy of free samples that came along with a free hair consultation at a salon, advertisements in magazines with coupons, billboards with arrows pointing to the nearest salon, radio ads that directed people to look at their Sunday newspaper to get a coupon to bring into their local salon. It was a huge success. Most of our salons gained over 100 new customers.
And now all of that was prior to the internet, so being able to get that kind of reaction was really a major success. And so I know that you like sort of fast forward through this process, at some point you made the decision to leave corporate world. I mean, you put Vidal Sassoon on the map, and in terms of his product. What made you decide to sort of leave that corporate world and start your own business?
Well, first I'd like to say that I didn't make Vidal the man he was. He made me the man I was, that I became, as well as his partner, Don Sullivan.
Right.
But the company, the Vidal Sassoon company, had grown exponentially. It was huge. It was almost out of control. It was like rock and roll at the hair shows, and it was acquired by a big conglomerate called Richardson Vicks. And I had the opportunity, if you look at it that way, of either moving to Cincinnati, Ohio, and I'm originally from Cleveland, so it wasn't a bad option, or staying with my family in Southern California. So I decided to stay in Southern California. I went to one of my friends, Tony Beckerman, who told me hairdressers are underserved and under-inspired with their tools, especially their scissors. Said, scissors after they're sharpened, they're just no good. But there's a magical company that places their scissors in a handmade wooden box, and they're amazing. You should find out how to work with them. And that was a company called Hikari.
Hikari, right. Okay.
So at that time, most scissors sold for $25 or $30. Our first scissor sold for $99. My friends thought I was crazy.
Yeah, and that was like the Starbucks, you know, when it was 50 cents per cup of coffee, and all of a sudden, you know, they're trying to sell a $3 cup of coffee. That's what you were doing with scissors at that point.
But what we learned is that if we could recondition a pair of scissors in the same way that they were manufactured, we would be able to create value. We would be able to develop an allegiance. People, stylists, would make an investment in our tools. And we learned that this is really what our industry was looking for. Some people say we changed the perspective of hairdressers in investing in their tools, but it became common, whether a stylist was working out of their home or in the finest salons throughout the world, that they aspired to excellence. They just didn't know what it looked like until they held it in their hand.
Right, exactly.
And so we developed this lifelong strategy of being able to recondition scissors exactly as they were made. We did crazy stunts. I threw scissors against walls, and then we reconditioned them in front of their eyes.
Right, right. And so, essentially with Hikari, you own the distribution. And at what point, I mean, obviously throughout this story, product development is always threaded throughout it. When did you actually begin to think about starting to create your own product?
At the end of one trade show in Chicago, after working all day long, our exhibit was closing, and there was a hairdresser waiting to speak with me. He took me aside and asked me, could I please help him? And I said, of course, how can I help you? And he reached out and he showed me his hand. He had been in a fire, and his three fingers, his pinky, his ring finger, and what I called the driving finger, were all fused together from the fire. And he asked me, could I please develop a pair of scissors that he could hold in his hand so he could cut the hair of his sister for her wedding.
Aww.
It would mean so much to him and her. So I took a pair of scissors and I started to fiddle-faddle around with the handle and dip the handle into different types of rubber and latex so that he could hold them. And once he held them in his hand and was able to operate them, I knew that being of service to others was going to be my career. I began to work with hairdressers who seemingly became broken. I mean, everyone thinks hairdressing is an easy profession, but it's very challenging. There's lots of repetitive motion in it. So I learned that a hairdresser's hand could break down, literally, from using it so much. Everything about hairdressing is picking up and gripping. So I began to work with insurance companies to help rehabilitate injured stylists.
Wow.
And it finally culminated in us being able to work with a leading insurer called Fireman's Fund and one of their clients, Supercuts, to where we were able to have the insurance company issue a prescription for the scissors, the training to use the scissors, and the sharpening for the scissors in our special way. They actually said, and hairdressers might find this funny, they said the only parallel to a way the hand is used by a hairdresser is that for chicken pluckers.
Right.
Because they use their tools in the same way.
Right.
And there's a direct correlation, I learned, between the efficiency of a tool and the ease in which to use it. That is where I first developed my interest in ergonomics, simply to help hairdressers get back to doing what they love.
All right, well, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk about how that experience leaped Robert forward into creating Ergo research. So stay with us. We will be right back.
Shh. Over here. Here's a secret for a virus-free computer. ESET. They've been a pioneer in the antivirus industry for over 25 years. 25 years of innovative, top-rated antivirus protection. ESET's award-winning security solutions provide a safe online experience for over 100 million home and business computer owners. They are so affordable, fast, and simple to use. So be gone, you blue screen of death. ESET's on my computer. If it's not on yours, visit HealthyLife.net's advertiser page and click on ESET now.
Here's the thing about beauty. It's pretty. At AmericanMadeBeauty.com, we're all about the pretty, making it easy for you to find what makes your beauty shine. We have essentially everything you need, and AmericanMadeBeauty.com celebrates brands that were created right here in the U.S. of A. Imagine everything you need from the best hair, skin, and nail products to makeup and even the tools, because it's all about pretty at AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We also think you're pretty important, so visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com. Browse, buy, learn. AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We're looking for a few good American beauty manufacturers who want to increase their brand in an exclusive credentialed category. If you're an American company who has conceived, designed, and bottled brands that are all about pretty, then we're pretty sure we're talking about you. And we're pretty sure you should be on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. This beauty website focuses on entrepreneurs and beauty startups as well as established brands. If it's pretty, we want to see it, and we want to sell it on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. To learn how you can be part of AmericanMadeBeauty.com, visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com now.
What does HealthyLife.net and Amazon.com have in common? Well, they're both available on the Internet. They both give great value. But most important, most of our positive program hosts and guests are accomplished authors, and their books are available from, you got it, Amazon.com. Now, it even gets better than that, because when you're listening on air to a HealthyLife.net host or guest, you can go directly to Amazon.com and you can order your book while you're still listening to your favorite HealthyLife.net program. So when you hear an author you like, go to the homepage of HealthyLife.net and click on Amazon.com.
Where positive people and radio unite. HealthyLife.net.
Welcome back. This is Patty Schmucker, and you're listening to RadioAMB on HealthyLife.net. I'm here with Robert Reed from Ergo Research, and we've been talking about how he came into the industry and how he found his real purpose when he began working with hairdressers who were injured and needed to have special design of their tools in order to do their craft, to do their art. So, Robert, you actually got an insurance company to issue you a prescription to be able to help these hairdressers. It's amazing.
It's one of the greatest accomplishments of my career.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, just directed at what I learned my life goal is, and that is to help serve hairdressers who serve so many.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. And so when you began, I know that there was a period where you started really making that happen. Did that then lead you into creating your Ergo as a company?
Well, there was a little interim period,
Uh-huh.
but many of my friends had told me that they were in pain at the end of a day of creating beauty.
Uh-huh.
And that didn't make any sense to me.
Right.
They loved what they did so much, but at the end of the day, they suffered for it. So I began to expand my curiosity about ergonomics and what it meant. And ergonomics are simply the relationship between the body, the tool, and the workplace for hairdressers. And I discovered most of the tools that were presented to them had no professional input whatsoever. In fact, normally they were just copies of something else, just dressed up maybe a little cooler or cuter. And it was time to take a look and study all the motions of the hairdresser and discover where the inefficiencies lied and solve that. So that's how Ergo Research began. It was a research company. We studied, we presented results, but I discovered no one wanted to pay for that either.
Ah, interesting.
Instead, my customers asked me to make those products that would allow their work to be easier. And we began with scissors once again, and funny things intervened, such as, well, not funny, but interesting things intervened, like state boards wanting hairdressers to disinfect their tools in their hands because of the fear of HIV and cross-contamination. And we began to be specialists in state board compliance. Over a period of time, I learned that there were other opportunities. During a visit to one of my factories in Korea, I saw these unique tools. They were called flat irons. And this is about 1998. And at that time, I thought, oh, these would be fantastic. The trend is moving to smooth hair. So I presented this idea of tools integrated with styling techniques to many different companies. No one bought that idea either. all of their stylists or their creative people thought it was fantastic, but no one wanted to pull the trigger as a partner. So I came home one day and told my wife, Marlene, I am tired of being the scissor guy. And so we produced our first production run of flat irons. I think we produced about 100 of them in absolutely the world's ugliest packaging. Packaging actually on it said Hollywood's true secret. I don't know what I was thinking at that time, but they were received exceptionally well, and we continued to grow all the way through about 2008. We developed relationships with thousands of stylists and salons and family-owned distribution companies, and then the world changed. The economy went into the toilet, and every one of my small family-owned manufacturing facilities filed a bankruptcy of one type or another, all within 45 days.
Wow, here in the United States?
In Asia,
in
Korea.
Okay.
I had one manufacturer in France. They suffered what I refer to as an ethical bankruptcy. So they just started to sell willy-nilly everywhere in violation of our contract. But that said, we had a fantastic relationship with thousands of stylists and nothing to sell.
Oh, wow.
So we put the Ergo brand to sleep. All of our employees went to work with a brilliant hairdresser by the name of Sam Villa. I developed tools for Sam for a couple years. And again, it was the most difficult time economically in our generation, and we had to leave the company to start something new. And that's when we rethought our purpose of not only providing the tools, but providing the education so hairdressers could use them to create easier, faster, better, and longer-lasting results. And that's where we are today.
And so what is today? What is your company, Ergo?
Well, Ergo Research is the maker of Ergo styling tools, and most people would just know us as Ergo. Today we're a collection of brushes that have such a phenomenal allegiance and following. It's so gratifying to see on Instagram thousands and thousands of posts or people having Facebook Live and speaking about our education. We've expanded into a range of irons. We have a dryer that is 100% renewable, which is our commitment to having less trash go into the landfill. And once again, the education, such as the art of the blow dry, or its follow-up course, the art of the blow dry 2.0, art of the big finish, and even with one of our creative tools called the hot razor.
Okay. And so but part of the business model as well, Robert, is that you are really dedicated to the professional relationship and the relationship between the professional and the salon guest. Tell us a little bit about that.
We think that something really magical happens when a stylist teaches their guest how to recreate their hairstyle at home.
Mm-hmm.
Most stylists actually have a desire to do this, but oftentimes they feel it may be selling when the guest is so anxious for this information. YouTube and do-it-yourself hair design receives hundreds of millions of views every year.
Mm-hmm.
But we believe when that connection exists, when a stylist shares with their guest how to recreate their hairstyle with products and tools, that the guest feels enriched, they feel more competent, they feel more confident, and ultimately they become a great walking billboard. So when all this works in harmony, there's nothing like it that can exist in a retail store, beauty supply, or on the web. So we work directly with salons. We don't sell to beauty supplies. We don't have any authorized Amazon resellers.
Mm-hmm.
We think that connection between the professional and their guest is that special.
Right. And it is. I mean, when you take a look at social media and how much beauty how-tos are used, the consumer is screaming, crying to have someone who has expertise show them how to use that. So, all right, so we're going to take another break, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about how life intervened for Robert as he was beginning to have all of these various different experiences, and how it really has shaped a lot of the way he creates really wonderful quality products. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Here's the thing about beauty. It's pretty. At AmericanMadeBeauty.com, we're all about the pretty, making it easy for you to find what makes your beauty shine. We have essentially everything you need, and AmericanMadeBeauty.com celebrates brands that were created right here in the U.S. of A. Imagine everything you need from the best hair, skin, and nail products to makeup and even the tools, because it's all about pretty at AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We also think you're pretty important, so visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com. Browse, buy, learn. AmericanMadeBeauty.com.
For all your live or pre-recorded webcasting needs, come to earthchannel.com. Get your web-based message out to a select group or the whole world. It's easy. A pioneer in webcasting, earthchannel.com provides the best products and services to big corporations and government users. And now this same technology is available to you. They have the best Earthcast encoders, servers, and products to meet your technical needs. But wait, don't want to mess with technical stress? No problem. They'll do it for you. EarthChannel.com is your answer. You can use webcasting for lots of things like advertising, marketing, customer support, training, and don't forget web radio and TV. In fact, you're listening to a live Earthcast right now. So come to EarthChannel.com. Actualize your audio or video webcasting needs today. You can't beat the friendly service or the price. Call EarthChannel.com at 1-800-849-8978. That's 1-800-849-8978.
We're looking for a few good American beauty manufacturers who want to increase their brand in an exclusive credentialed category. If you're an American company who has conceived, designed, and bottled brands that are all about pretty, then we're pretty sure we're talking about you. And we're pretty sure you should be on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. This beauty website focuses on entrepreneurs and beauty startups as well as established brands. If it's pretty, we want to see it, and we want to sell it on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. To learn how you can be part of AmericanMadeBeauty.com, visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com now.
When you're looking for bedding, department store prices can shock you. Well, be shocked no more. Sell steak cheap, not cheap steak. That's the motto of Anna's Linens. Although they don't sell steak, they do sell the best bedding, bath, and home decor items. They strive to provide their merchandise at extreme value to their customers, and they do it. Great everyday prices on everything and military discounts. Plus, if you visit them online, they have clearance items and internet specials. Visit them online now at HealthyLife.net's advertiser page.
Radio your way. HealthyLife.net.
Hey, thanks for staying with us. This is Patty Schmucker. You're listening to RadioAMB on HealthyLife.net. I'm here with Robert Reed, the founder of Ergo Research and Ergo Styling Tools. And we've been talking about his evolution and how the company evolved. But Robert, there have been several different places along the line where you had to make various different turns, but there was a very significant point in which, in your life in which there was a turn of events that really has shaped a lot of who you are today. Tell us about that.
Well, it was the first year of Ergo's life, 1994, and I was attending a convention in San Francisco. Through a course of unexpected events, a friend of mine asked me if I would help him unload some materials from a truck.
Mm-hmm.
I thought nothing of it. He had a bad back. I was a strapping, maybe 40-year-old. So I got up on the truck and shimmied my little tushy in between the cab of the truck and this big wooden crate, and I started pushing the crate forward, and I heard an audibly loud pop.
Mm.
It was in the bottom of my hip or my back. I said, wow, what was that? I thought nothing of it.
Mm-hmm.
But the next morning I couldn't walk.
Mm-hmm.
I had to be taken home in a wheelchair from San Francisco, and over the course of the next year, they discovered that I had dislocated my hip and suffered something called avascular necrosis. This is where the hip pops out and the end of the femur begins to collapse.
Mm.
So I underwent a hip replacement, and unfortunately that didn't go too well. I don't want to put any fear in the minds of your audience, because technology and surgery are great today, but they weren't so great at the end of 1999 when this happened, my first surgery.
Mm-hmm.
I had to go in for a revision because in the first week I dislocated my hip 5 times, being rushed to the hospital each time. And eventually, at the end of that week, they went in and they put in a new hip replacement. Unfortunately, the technology at that time called for them to use a form of cement to hold my hip so I wouldn't dislocate. And in about 2 years, I noticed I was limping. I could have walked in a circle without any effort. And after research, they discovered that my white blood cells were attacking this cement, and it had eaten my pelvis completely.
Wow.
My pelvis was like, honeycomb candy. It looked solid, but it was very fragile. So I underwent another revision. At that time, unfortunately, I gained a staph infection. It's called MRSA.
Mm-hmm. Oh, my goodness.
Resistant.
Right.
So they took out all of the components of my hip, which, by the way, I've had 5 hip replacements, and I have the components of all 4 that they've taken out.
Oh, my goodness.
Quite a collection.
Yeah, I was just going to say, that's a pretty awesome collection.
Yeah. It looks like a gear shift now. But anyway, I had to undergo 2 years of antibiotic therapy without anything joining my hip, more of my pelvis, to my leg. It was just like limp. So I lived for 2 years on crutches and in wheelchairs, but at the same time, I had a new company and a relatively new marriage. So I had to live. I had to travel. I traveled to France, I traveled to Japan, I traveled to Korea, and it gave me a unique perspective.
Mm-hmm.
There's just nothing like the perspective of a differently abled person sitting in a wheelchair. And all of the encumbrances, all the obstacles in front of you to live that life, it made me a very empathetic person.
And I like the term you use, differently enabled?
Differently able.
Differently abled.
So at that point, I wasn't so mobile,
uh-huh.
but my eyes and my brain were still working. In fact, they were seemingly more acutely aware of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So in many of my salon visits, I started to see things differently, almost backwards, I think, where I would see the end result of a finished product or finished result and then figure out all the steps going backward to develop that product.
Right.
I learned that from my first therapist that the key to this was, and the key to my recovery, was making sure I took one perfect step at a time. Sometimes, even today, some 12 years after my last operation, you might see me at a trade show and I might be limping.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in pain,
mm-hmm.
but I'm just walking sloppily.
Uh-huh.
Because I have to remember in days like that to take one perfect step at a time, and all of a sudden my limp will disappear. I think I've learned this as a great lesson in life. Do things as perfectly as you can, and things work out beautifully for you.
Mm-hmm. And it does. The whole concept that from that perspective, sitting in a wheelchair or having to figure out how to accomplish things that become automatic for other people, you begin to, I like what you said, differently abled person. It's not that you're incapable, it's that the way that you're going to accomplish things is going to be with a different set of tools.
Yes, and I also, I must say that I didn't do all of this on my own, getting around the world and operating my business from a recovery bed.
Mm-hmm.
But my wife Marlene and having such a great team, they made it possible for me.
Mm-hmm.
They even propped me up.
Mm-hmm.
At a trade show, you'd see me leaning against a post,
mm-hmm.
and that way I could stand all day long and receive people and serve our industry.
Right, right. And so as you began to come back in the working with the company, it sounds like that was really shaping the way that you were redesigning your tools.
Well, through this, let's call it quiet time,
mm-hmm.
I really began to visualize stylists doing what they do and being even more observant. I started thinking about how I could be of better service now with my new learning than I was in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that finishing, blow drying, let's call it blow drying. Blow drying is simply the most fatiguing single element that a hairdresser does every day.
Mm-hmm.
Some take great pride in it, others just dry the hair.
Mm-hmm.
But I discovered that there wasn't a method.
Mm-hmm.
Most teaching was done through demonstration,
mm-hmm.
and most hairdressers would see it and interpret it and do it differently.
Mm-hmm.
So the development of the art of the blow dry was to introduce a system of finishing that everyone could use, the most efficient techniques, be faster, develop better and longer lasting results.
Right. All right, well, we're going to take a minute and take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk in a little bit more detail about where Ergo is today and how he's built ergonomics into the brand for the professional and also for the consumer. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Here's the thing about beauty. It's pretty. At AmericanMadeBeauty.com, we're all about the pretty, making it easy for you to find what makes your beauty shine. We have essentially everything you need, and AmericanMadeBeauty.com celebrates brands that were created right here in the U.S. of A. Imagine everything you need from the best hair, skin, and nail products to makeup and even the tools, because it's all about pretty at AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We also think you're pretty important, so visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com. Browse, buy, learn. AmericanMadeBeauty.com.
When you're looking for bedding, department store prices can shock you. Well, be shocked no more. Sell steak cheap, not cheap steak. That's the motto of Anna's Linens. Although they don't sell steak, they do sell the best bedding, bath, and home decor items. They strive to provide their merchandise at extreme value to their customers, and they do it. Great everyday prices on everything and military discounts. Plus, if you visit them online, they have clearance items and internet specials. Visit them online now at HealthyLife.net's advertiser page.
We're looking for a few good American beauty manufacturers who want to increase their brand in an exclusive credentialed category. If you're an American company who has conceived, designed, and bottled brands that are all about pretty, then we're pretty sure we're talking about you. And we're pretty sure you should be on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. This beauty website focuses on entrepreneurs and beauty startups as well as established brands. If it's pretty, we want to see it, and we want to sell it on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. To learn how you can be part of AmericanMadeBeauty.com, visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com now.
Oh, man, it never fails. My suitcase just got ripped apart.
Life is a journey. Make it a pleasant one. Use Samsonite. You know the name. For almost a century, Samsonite luggage has proved itself to be the worldwide leader in innovative travel solutions. Let it be yours. Visit HealthyLife.net's affiliate Samsonite on our homepage and click to look at the fine luggage from suitcases to golf travel bags. And don't forget, take a look at their travel accessories. Make life a journey, a pleasant one, with Samsonite.
HealthyLife.net, where positive overcomes negative.
Hi there, it's Patty Schmucker, and you're listening to RadioAMB on HealthyLife.net. I'm here with Robert Reed of Ergo Research and Ergo Styling Tools. And Robert, you've talked about really having that opportunity, having had the injury in that period of time. It was almost a decade, is that right, that you were going through that period of some physical health issues?
It was a clean 10 years, but that 10 years seemingly has allowed me to feel the way I do at the age I am.
Right, right. And so in that, you really began looking at putting quality into the product, and you know, of course, this is American Made Beauty, and we always like to have brand products that are made here in the U.S. You make a lot of your products outside of the United States. Tell us a little bit about how you maintain quality in those products.
Well, firstly, I think it's interesting that when it comes to a professional styling tool, one that's used and enjoyed by the hairdresser behind the chair, one of the first questions asked at any trade show or any first encounter is, what does it cost? And I've developed over my 4 decades in the industry a perspective that it's not what something costs, it's what it's worth. So I began to study how these tools, even something as simple as a brush, was manufactured, and I learned that there hadn't been any change in materials or in design of something as simple as a brush for decades. In fact, there wasn't a clear understanding of what the difference was between a natural bristle, which many people loved, and a nylon bristle. So we began to explore materials and effects of being able to use a man-made material like nylon and add different elements in its formulation so it would create different results. It seems as though just about every woman in your audience would remember her mother telling her to brush her hair 100 strokes at the end of each night.
Right.
On our YouTube channel, which is Ergo Styling Tools, there's a longer dissertation on this, but there's a reason why natural bristles were used 50 years ago and why they're not suitable today. Nylon bristles, again, man-made material. In a liquid form, when it's hot, nylon can have different elements added to it. So we add carbon to make sure the bristle won't melt, because bristles melting are the number one reason why someone would replace a brush in the first place. And we add a unique element. It's a crystal called tourmaline.
Mm-hmm.
In its highly powdered form, when we add this to the formula, when that bristle is heated, it creates a form of energy called a negative ion.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes ionic,
mm-hmm.
and it closes the outer layers of the hair, making the hair shiny, hair color more radiant, and the hair becomes resistant to humidity changes.
Mm-hmm.
So first we began with the desired result. We found factories that could produce this on a commercial basis for us in South Korea.
Mm-hmm.
These same young manufacturers aspired to be great, so we knew that if we established quality materials, quality production processes, standard operating procedures for making sure all the materials were consistently of the highest caliber, we would end up with something unique. And during my recovery period, that's when I started to think about how we could make a brush faster. That's how we developed the idea for a longer barrel. It lets you work with more hair.
Mm-hmm.
For a professional means they go through the hair fewer times. They can take wider sections, finish faster. For the consumer, it means it's easier to reach the back of their head with this longer barrel, so they can reach their entire style. Even the handle was unique, or became unique, because we learned by working with doctors who specialized in hand reconstruction. Everything about hairdressing is squeezing and gripping.
Right.
So our handle's made of a silicone. This is a slightly pliable surface. Even when your hands are wet or have styling products on it, you don't grip it as hard. You have full control. So this led us to develop these brushes that have such an allegiant and loyal following. So we work with all of our factories to ensure that the initial raw materials meet the specifications. When blended together, they develop a consistent product assembled by hand and machine combined to come up with a consistent product that today the defective rate of our brushes is about 0.03%.
Wow. And as far as closing the loop on that system, you put a lot of work into tooling the hairdresser, not only with those physical tools, but also with that way in which to connect with the guest and allow the guest to take those tools home and have at-home services that are satisfactory.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, it's funny about our industry. You learn most everything hands-on.
Mm-hmm.
Hair cutting is taught hands-on for the experience of being able to hold the hair in certain ways and certain angles, and the scissors to remove the hair the way you envision.
Mm-hmm.
Hair coloring is taught hands-on.
Right.
We see the hair color, we formulate color, we apply color using special techniques. But for blow drying, again, almost all of it was taught through demonstration. So the development of our in-salon classes, the art of the blow dry, provides stylists with this method for efficiency, being able to visualize the hair texture they're working on as a fabric, and importantly, giving that gift of information to their guest, because every stylist wants their guest to look great. Every guest is seeking that information. Put the two together with the right dialogue, right asking the right questions, and the guest is really happy they've chosen that stylist as their professional.
Right. Well, as we come to the end of the show, and you think back on your career and where your business is today and where is it going, any words of wisdom for people who are entering the industry and want to be successful?
That would require probably an hour response, but I'll put it this way. I think that you want to remember that there's an old adage that you become that of your 5 closest friends. So you become that person that is a homogenization of your 5 closest friends.
Mm-hmm.
Choose your right 5 closest friends. If you aspire to be a great hairdresser, find the best hairdressers in your community and hang out with them.
Mm-hmm.
Shampoo for them. Sweep the floor for them. Do anything you can to observe them and observe their best habits, and they'll become a great mentor for you.
Mm-hmm.
For a consumer who's listening today, you should simply ask your hairdresser, please show me how I can recreate my hair style in the fastest way in the morning, maybe another way for the office, and another way for special events.
Right.
Demand that of your hairdresser. They may be shy about sharing it with you. It's not a secret. They want you to know.
Exactly. All right, great. Well, thank you, Robert. Thanks for spending some time with me today and for sharing your story. We really, you really are an inspiration, not only in the tools and the work that you do for the industry, but for who you are as a man and a mentor and a leader. Thanks for being with us today.
Patty, I love our industry. There's so much for us to share with the consumer.
That's right. All right. Well, thank you all for listening and being with us today. And tune in next week as well. I'm Patty Schmucker. Thank you for listening to Radio AMB, where we think pretty is pretty important in all things in beauty.
Have a shiny day.